said she'd be here as soon as she could, because she hasn't been.
You're good, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to our Nipissing Township Museum Board meeting, Wednesday, October 4th. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move on. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting held September the 6th, 2023? Dave and I guess I have to use full names here. Dave and Debbie. We're just putting initials initially. Okay, so motion number 2023-30, moved by Dave, seconded by Debbie, that we approve the minutes of the Nipissing Township Museum Board meeting held September the 6th, 2023 as presented. All in favor? Carried.
Did you sign the minutes?
I did not. Okay, next on the agenda is Fall Fest report.
All right. So, for revenue, the base sale that we had generated $196.15. And some of the different stations we had varying amounts of donations from $2 to $20. There was $129.05 donated by the Boston Home Hardware popcorn stand. So the total for the special event revenue, not including any gift shop sales, was $385.55. And for participation, we had about 50 people through the hardware and church museum buildings, about 56 through the gift shop, 23 people in the participation prize draw, and doing the ring toss. There's about 6 people or 6 groups participate in the scavenger hunt. So I'm not sure how many people we would have had total. It might have been around 100, but in terms of like total participation, like 227 things were participated in, if that makes sense. So if we add together the revenue or the special event revenue from both events, Heritage Day and Fall Fest, it should be around $1,800 and change. We have the exact amount in our,
Yeah, it's about 1,400, but I think because the donations also went into, it may be within the donations as well.
yeah, I would include in the
So
donations
between
from
the
the
two.
event days. Okay, so they're just broken down a little bit differently on the.
Yeah, between the two, it's about 2,700.
700 between the two.
Between donations and special events revenue.
Yeah, and that would include donations that were given throughout the season, not just on the event days.
Okay. So, everybody all right with that? There's none. So, can we move on to the operating standards?
The discussion first, and then we have a motion if everyone's okay with it, or we can make some changes.
Has everybody had the opportunity to read it? Okay.
I knew you were gonna look at me.
Well, I think you've been instrumental in streamlining this.
Well, there was one word that it was where and it should have been when. On page 5 at the top. When a person listed on the gift form documentation is known, not where a person.
Oh, when a person was, oh, yeah, okay. Never, I missed that. Because I've read this probably a half a dozen times just to make sure that,
Oh, there were some other little things, but that's okay.
is everybody else okay with it the way it's written up? Or in present form, or we can still just change that? We can still go ahead with the motion. with that.
Sure.
Okay. So that said, can I get a motion that we approve the Nipissing Township Museum operating standards as presented? Dave? Congrats. Okay, so this is motion number 2023-31, moved by Dave, seconded by Gladys, that we approve the Nipissing Township Museum Board operating standards as presented with that little amendment. All in favor? Which one?
I just need to number it, please.
Okay. So we discussion on this one first, or did we?
Once you put it on the table, then you can start the discussion. After the 15 to be decided and then the diversity.
Okay. So we discuss it and then we,
You have to move the motion and put it on the table for discussion.
oh, okay, so. So motion number 2023-32, that the 2024 Heritage Day theme will be, and we'll discuss that and decide on it here. And the date of the celebration will be. So I'm gonna open the floor for discussion.
I thought we were going to
We have
do
a date.
50th anniversry.
Pardon me?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
but we can expand more on that theme.
Okay,
I was wondering if we could try and make it focused on multiculturalism within the township. A lot of people from various countries came up the Rosso Nipissing Road in order to emigrate here. We have a number of artifacts in the collection that people brought with them from their home country. It might be nice to focus on that. It might be nice to focus on the cultures that have continued to come into Nipissing, not just through the Rosso Road. But, you know, as life has evolved in Canada and transport into the township.
Okay,
I just wonder how easy that would be, for the lack of a better word.
Well, it can be a small focus or a large focus, as I said. I know there's artifacts in the collection that people brought with them, so what the museum can do is identify those artifacts. We can make little tags, use them for activities like scavenger hunts or different things for participation. And if that's all that's done, it's still drawing attention to the fact that there's folks from different cultural backgrounds that make up the township and have made up the township from its beginnings.
Mhm. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. It just depends how much you want to do it, because it could turn into a huge huge project, like,
Well, we can do as much as we can, and if people are willing to volunteer to do demonstrations or to talk about their traditions or something like that, that's great, it can always get added in, but
it needs to be started like now, talking to people.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We can't leave it till,
No,
no,
So that's why we're
That's why
discussing
we're
it now.
planning now, yeah.
because we're sort of losing some of those people. You know, like I think of at the far end, the Hoffmans and the Shermers and
the
the
Bulwarks
Fries, the
came
Bulwarks,
from Holland, yeah.
yeah, and the Owens.
Yeah, and there's some, like, and some of these stories are in the binders that we have at the museum already, so it's certainly something that the students can work on as soon as they get, as long as it's decided what is wanted, they can start working on that as soon as they start.
I was just thinking too of getting in touch with people that are left, that are part of those families, like,
Well, yeah, because I was thinking,
maybe we need to do that now.
That would be
That,
even better.
that's
Yeah.
why we would like to have it decided in a motion so that we can start the planning phase now.
yeah, because we can't start the planning phase in the spring, that would be too late
Mhm.
already.
Yeah.
Because I think of people like the Shermers that came over in 1906. The Bartons that came here, at that end,
Mhm.
you know? Like, when did the Rennett's come out here?
In the, I think 18 something. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, so,
When his great grandpa came,
And where did, sorry, where did they
they
come?
were from Belgium, Alsace-Lorraine, yeah. So are you looking for someone from each family to bring the history?
So it would be whatever, whatever stands out to them as something that is part of their cultural tradition,
Okay,
or the story of how they
oh, they came? Oh, okay, that sounds good.
and what kind of experience they had when they got here. How was it very different?
it would be nice to know what method they got here or
Yeah.
where they came from.
How they got
Did they come up the Ottawa or did they come up the Russell Road?
I
So,
would know that. I don't exactly know that, but they probably came up.
Yeah, see, that would be worth asking the questions
Yeah.
to those old families.
Yeah, he just did a whole interview, but it's not ready yet.
It might be in that interview that was done.
Yeah, he did. He has all that information. He's got,
Yeah,
And the Commanda Museum has been working on that, so they have.
so they have like a lot of,
yeah, they've
From
already
that
started
end,
a
right?
project at that end.
yeah,
This would be an excellent tie-in for the two. museums.
exactly.
Yeah,
and I have spoken to,
Yeah,
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they would love to collaborate, and actually, if the board is willing, their board would like to get together with you guys and maybe plan something jointly or something like that, or collaborate on something that we plan.
And I have a meeting with her tomorrow morning, actually, on a separate matter, so I can bring anything forward to her tomorrow.
yeah. Now, is there another museum down that road?
Yes, there are, hold on. I did look at, so a lot of the villages that were on the Rosso Nipissing Road are now ghost towns,
Mhm.
so there wouldn't be much collaboration that we could do, but there's the Rosso Historical Society, and the museum on the Tower Hill, which is also called the West Prairie Fund District Museum, in Rosso. And there's the Magnetawan Historical Museum, which is, I believe, is run by the municipality. And then, of course, the Command Museum. So those would all be sort of on or near the route,
They're on that route, yes.
or within the towns that are on the route.
That may be a really good opportunity for that postcard or the passport program that Mary was talking about bringing back. That would be an excellent one, where we would create a passport with a page for each of the museums, and we can get it stamped at each museum. I don't know if you were with us for that conversation, but that's what it was a few meetings ago.
And it's not a new program. She just
No.
wanted to bring it
Bring it
back.
Bring
back.
it back.
Yeah.
because it was a good program. And how do we lose those programs like that, you know?
But it's something that would be relatively straightforward for us to bring back and reach out to them. Mhm.
Yeah.
You just have to get everybody else on board.
Yeah. Mhm. Well, I think, yeah, just reaching out and getting contact information for each of those places, and then we can work from there.
And I can work with you on contacting them.
We're lucky that we have Jillian as a permanent full-time employee of the municipality, and I've worked out something with operations so that we can use her skills when we can.
Okay. On occasion.
We share her.
They'll share.
Okay, so are we all right with that theme? Is everybody okay with that theme? We kind of have to write the theme out. How do we write that?
I'm not sure. Do you want me to do the writing part?
Well, I don't know, I just want to make sure everybody's on board with it before we move forward with it, with that theme.
Well, I think it's a very valid thing.
Okay,
So what is the theme? What are the words you want to use?
I think we just have to decide, is it just going to be part of our, or is it going to be the whole thing?
It could sort of be, as we celebrate the anniversary of the Rosso Nipissing Road, we invite everyone to share and or present their unique cultural experience in the context of their familial cultural history and how it's been shared and evolved by the community in Nipissing.
Okay.
That's probably too wordy, but
No, but it gives a good direction for it. So
Are we gonna have these families come and talk, one individual that,
well, since you guys started listing names that you know, I was wondering if it might be a good idea if
yeah,
anyone
or is it
is willing to
150?
volunteer to talk to the people that they know. We can all have a
Well, we're
list of
incorporating
common questions,
88, we're gonna be
and if
before the
people are
Russell
willing to be
Road.
recorded, we can start it that way. And
So
talk
100
to
years.
them about, are they willing to come to the event and do something? Is there a tradition that they'd be willing to demonstrate? Are they willing to have their stories in the exhibit text? Just sort of see what everyone is willing to do and then move it from there. Because if we decide we want something and then have to find it, that might be more difficult than if we see what people are willing to give in terms of their time and their experiences.
would Rod be willing to come and
I
speak?
can volunteer him. I mean, he went to. I volunteer.
Yeah.
I mean, he went
Well
to Command
played,
and told his story, so
Yeah,
I'm sure he would tell his story.
And I'm hoping too that through collaboration with the Community Museum, that we will be able to, use some of the information they've already gathered and
It's too bad Mary's not here because she's a wealth of information
Yeah.
for all this stuff.
because if you
Yeah.
have the Youngs, then you
Yes.
have the Grabowskis,
Yes,
then
The Altmans.
they Altmans, so
Yes.
they all link up to one.
it
So
goes the same as Rod's. When I started reading
That's right.
through, it's all the Gieslers,
Yes.
the Altmans.
They all go back.
They all
So,
go back
when
to
I
the
read- when I
same,
read- when
the
I read
Hummels,
that,
like,
Yeah.
That's
but
right.
my dad's
And that
family
goes
was
well
from
beyond that,
Nipissing,
too.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Bushes. So
Yeah.
it becomes a whole, yeah.
So you could represent,
And the Bushes and the
Probably-
Altmans are related too, aren't they?
Oh, probably, isn't everybody? My kids think everybody's related.
yeah,
Well, I think they
yeah,
are.
yeah. But that
I'm
would-
pretty sure down,
Well, when I
way,
was
way back
younger,
there,
that's what I
everybody's
thought.
related.
Well,
Yeah.
I think everyone is related.
Yeah, and nobody had front steps. I just want to put that out there. Remember that?
it's,
when you first come up, nobody had front steps. No, you'd
Yeah.
be driving, and no front steps, no front
It's
steps.
because your
Yeah.
house would be unfinished then.
That's right, they had a front door, no front steps, we used to, never heard of that.
I never really thought about
We
that.
are.
Yeah, when we were young,
I guess because
Yeah.
I grew up with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
watch your step, that front door, but yeah, forever.
You kind of just jumped out, I
Yeah,
guess. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Yeah, but you're right, probably the house is unfinished then.
Yeah.
Well, I know
That's-
the Youngs came from Belgium. I
Yeah.
know that. I never knew that till just recently,
Yeah,
which I was like, oh,
Cultural
God, I didn't know
diversity.
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
God, we need Ricky's looking.
well, that's.
Yeah,
the
that
right
is
thinking.
Ricky.
So
That's
if we
who-
did right, then you got the Grabowskis,
Yes,
and then it just
It just,
would take up the township. You
Yeah.
wouldn't need a lot of people to come and speak because,
because
because
if
just
you
need
read
the
their
main
story,
original one.
that's right,
Yep.
Meeting of the
Yeah.
cultures.
when you read their story, it's.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
although some of that information on there, because I
yeah,
know Mary likes genealogy. But
yeah,
it said that Rod's great-great-grandfather had 12 children. Well, he didn't. He had 7, but there's 3 Nicholas Rennets.
oh,
So we think
Yeah.
that it added all the children together under him, but it's not, that's not right.
Or they ran out of names.
yeah, yeah,
Family names.
12 kids.
Yeah,
The
it
baby
was,
book may not have been that. big
maybe
back
that's
then.
it, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that would be interesting. I think there's, who's in, Hanselman's
yeah,
are
Oh,
in
yeah.
Commanda.
yeah.
Who else? Hoffs,
Hoff, the
Hoffs.
booths,
the
The
Booths,
booths,
And I'm sure Lois would probably be,
yeah,
yeah,
have
there's
lots of
just-
information on that.
and Arnold Gerke.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Must be
still, yeah,
Well,
He's just
oh,
a
yeah,
wealth of
Yeah.
knowledge.
he
You
just
better
did a
just-
big interview.
You
Yeah.
better talk to him soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He's older than dirt now,
oh, but he's
He's
still
always
got
been
it.
But
older.
he-
Yeah.
so it's just amazing.
but he will share. He will share.
And he
with you.
shared, so
Yeah.
they have that. Like Commando already
Yeah,
has a
Commando
whole
already
bunch of
has
those.
some of that.
that's right.
Yeah,
Which is, if they'll let us use it.
Yeah,
It would be
Oh,
really
well,
neat if
I'm
we're
sure
together,
she
not
will.
together, that we could share.
And
it
they
with
she's
would
the
very
love
good,
Yes.
yeah.
So
And,
Yeah,
and it's
when
a-
they-
Yes.
it's a provincially
Before
funded
school
Yeah.
project that
because
they've started on.
That's
It's
living
very
history
big.
for them.
And
Yeah.
they were,
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
really open to all of the suggestions that I made when we met to talk
But
about.
I
other
really
things.
liked her. I was, yeah, we're very impressed
I
with
think-
her, actually.
I think we'll get very far with our new connection.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't take as many people as spokespeople for this, because one person might take in 7 or 8 of the whole families.
Yeah.
Only
at a
7 or
time.
8?
Well.
or
and
if they
more.
got together and they just have the
That's right.
presentation.
Yes.
So someone's gonna talk, someone's
Yeah.
gonna,
Now, that said, so Commanda pretty much has,
Could be neat. Sorry, I just had a thought. We need to have a round table
Yeah.
Yeah,
and have a whole bunch of people and just let them share their stories.
yeah,
oh, yeah,
Oh, that'd be fun.
yeah.
it'd be like a Friday night down in the Bruley when I was a
Wouldn't it?
teenager.
yeah.
It's not a bad
Except no
idea to
beer.
plan
Oh, we probably
You could do that,
a
yeah.
dinner of some
Stories
kind
would get
at some
better,
point.
wouldn't they?
It might be
Fuses.
interesting to
If we get some
investigate that.
fuses in there, all
for
the
this
stories will be
special
grand.
Get right.
Dinner, where we
family
can have
spokesperson.
everybody
Where
come
people
to the
can come and
table.
talk.
Oh, they could tell stories.
Cause I know Gerard Young, which is Ricky's
Yeah.
brother, he's got all the,
Yeah,
he's got it all.
yeah,
And I'm not sure if he was doing the interview. I think he was supposed to do the interview. Oh, she was married to Wanda Altman, but she was Wanda's, I forget her name before that. She married, her second husband was Altman. She was doing an interview. I don't know what her
Yeah.
family.
Would I
don't know
be,
what his last name was before.
like
Would
the
I be correct in
Lincolnfelters
saying
went to the log schoolhouse on Granite Hill.
Oh.
All their names, the Kellys, they're all carved
Oh, yes,
into those walls and.
yeah,
would I be
They're all
correct in
related.
saying that this end, the old Nipissing Township, were predominantly people who came up the Ottawa,
I don't know.
and that end would be predominantly the Rosso Road?
Can't answer that.
From the beginning, it was probably more likely, but I'm not
I'm not
sure.
Yeah.
sure where Rod's
Especially
family came.
after the the railways came in, because the railways did come in relatively quickly after the road, at least up from Great.
Yes,
River.
well, that's why I'm saying that the old families probably came up the Ottawa.
They did, yeah.
the
like
Ottawa,
first
across the
four
Lavaz.
For sure came from
Yeah.
Eganville area.
Well, for the Grabowskis, Commander Country Gardens, she was a Grabowski.
Okay,
But I know in Troll Creek, I know a lady who was a Grabowski. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's, because some of them just, but the Youngs and the Grabowskis
Yes.
are very, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
they're all family, they're all.
yeah, just kind of like the Hummels and the like,
Yeah.
they came from Germany.
Yeah.
So
But the Grabowskis, the Youngs and the,
I know the Youngs and the Rennets came from the same
from Belgium.
Belgium, which I just found that out, but I don't know where the Grabowskis, would that be Polish?
That's Polish.
Yeah.
It
That's
must be
very,
Yeah, that's
very
Polish.
Or Russian or something.
It's Polish, I think
Yeah.
they're Polish, yeah,
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's got the I on the end. It's probably
Yeah.
Polish or
Yeah.
Ukrainian,
Yes,
or Ukrainian.
Well, we can ask them later. just to
Yeah.
make Sure.
there's so many people, like, what was her name? Annie Spatz. She lived, everybody's heard about Annie Spatz, and she lived way back in the bush somewhere. And, yeah, out by one of the old nips, out by one of the schools.
oh,
And she came and stayed in the church on Saturday night overnight, so that she could be there for Sunday morning mass. And the
so-
weirdest stories that you hear,
Oh, there was lots of stories.
Did she
about
live
her.
on Bennett Road?
she could have.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know that, yeah, I'm sure.
everybody talks
Which
about
is-
Annie
I-
Spatz.
Back in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not, I
Mhm.
don't know for sure where.
Oh, there's so much information out there.
Well, there's so many opportunities to make this
Yeah.
a really great community event.
Yeah, for sure.
So anytime that you're talking to anybody this winter, take out your writing pad.
Yeah.
And get their consent to put it in our exhibit.
Yeah.
Or do you
Use
just
it for
want us to
our
get-
event.
Do you just want us to get that they would take part in it and tell their story? I guess we have to have a date
I think it'd
first.
be really
Yeah.
neat to have them in a circle and
Yeah.
then have people visiting all on the outside and just let them talk
Yeah.
about how their families got to be here. I think that would be a lovely event.
I think that would be very good for people who are more extroverted, but
Yeah.
I think it's also worth talking to people who are not comfortable doing that. And if they're okay being recorded.
Yeah,
And
well, not-
having
yeah.
that
Yeah.
included as well, and
Yeah.
maybe doing some background work over
Couldn't
the
get enough
winter and
Rickies to
then
do it.
doing it as well.
Yeah.
Of course, I know
Yeah.
nothing.
Do you
Get
have,
enough Rickies to do
the recording, everything to do that?
The museum laptop, I believe, has the ability to record audio. I think it probably does video as well, but I know it definitely does audio.
Because if Rod already did one, and I know it's getting held up because pictures that we had to scan and then Deb was away. I guess we could
You
get
could
that.
work with the command.
Like, why do it
For their
over, right?
equipment, because that was we were talking about the equipment that she was able to get.
Yeah,
with
she
this
has a
grant.
lot
So
of
She
equipment.
said, when we need to get things done, she has the equipment, so I'm sure we can work with them.
Yeah, and just maybe use some of those recordings,
Maybe.
Well, which makes sense.
which she already has.
Exactly.
I don't know how many she has though.
Providing everybody's
Yeah,
okay with that.
I guess you'd have to get consent from each family that it's
From the
okay.
family, well, probably just person that's talking,
I don't know if you want to add
From the
anything else
museum though, too,
onto
right?
it,
that it's okay that we use
then
it.
we just need a date.
it. Okay, so,
We have a date, don't we?
Yeah, I thought we had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
we-
last time.
Yeah, we just
August
need to put it on the
18th.
motion.
August the 18th, so I'm gonna put it on the
When is
motion.
it?
August 18th, we have.
Okay.
My calendar is.
August 18th.
Yeah, in the back.
August 18th, yes, I thought it.
So I'm gonna try and fire this proposal out there. Anyway, that the 2024 Heritage theme will be 100th anniversary Nipissing Russell Road. That's the general theme.
And at the 150th.
That's what we were
So,
trying to figure out.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's 150th?
yes.
Okay.
sorry, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna make the amendment on here, sorry.
And then it's our 50th It's
didn't-
an anniversary
Yeah,
too,
museum.
and we're
Museum.
celebrating that.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
We found an old picture, just because we've been going through pictures. And Rod's dad actually was on council then, and he cut the ribbon. But
Oh, really?
he wasn't the wreath and somebody,
It was Casey where we had his speech at the museum.
yeah, but was he sick or something that he couldn't be there?
No, I don't know. Well, it was 2 days, the celebrations.
I know, I said to Rod, well, why is your dad cutting the ribbon?
I'd have to look at the artifacts in the museum,
He probably knows why. I know.
because I know
And then
I
we're doing the
cataloged them,
family,
but I
so
can't
I will
remember
be
the
writing that.
details.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, heritage.
Yeah,
for
because
the
Keith Moore was,
Heritage.
he was
Well,
forever.
Could we call it heritage families?
Perfect.
Yeah,
I like that.
probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
so an item to this. So I'm gonna do the. Yeah, here, just so we have like the sub theme, right?
Yeah.
Because the celebration is the 150. And then the sub theme to it. Okay, so I'm gonna try this on you guys. The 2024 Heritage Day theme will be 150th anniversary Nipissing Rosso Road Heritage Families. The date of the celebration will be August the 18th, 2023.
2024.
Sorry, 2024. Never trust me. Write stuff down. Excuse me. I'll try that again. Get the frog out of my throat. Okay, so I'm gonna try this again. That the 2024 Heritage Day theme will be 150th anniversary Nipissing Rosso Road Heritage Families. The date of the celebration will be August the 18th, 2024. So can I have a mover and a seconder? Okay, moved by Debbie. Seconded by,
Cool.
okay. So motion number 2023-32, moved by Debbie, seconded by Gladys, that the 2024 Heritage Day theme will be 150th anniversary Nipissing Rosso Road. The date of the celebration will be August 18th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we've got that one. Standards theme. 2024 event planning?
Yeah.
Now, we had decided earlier that we would do 3 events, or was it?
No,
No,
we haven't talked about that.
Oh.
No,
Okay.
I don't think we got to that
No.
stage, but this is
Okay.
this is the stage that we need to figure out how many events we're going to have, when, what it would be, so we can fund those and put it into the budget and start planning.
okay. So what did the events that we did this year? We did
We did 2.
We did Heritage Day and Fall Fest.
Heritage Day and Fall Festival.
Yeah.
Fill out 3. Must have come from something else. Okay, so Heritage Day for sure, am I correct?
That's already done. We had that one in the previous resolution, so.
Oh, I see, okay. So this is open for other events. And the trunk sale?
The trunk sales with recreation, I think they were talking about doing one in the spring and one in the fall, but I'm not sure what dates.
That would be good.
Yeah, working with them.
Work with the recreation committee on.
In collaboration, a lot of people at the trunk sale this year mentioned that they liked it when it was in collaboration with the Museum Fall Fest,
Okay.
and then they can do both.
I think the later date for the trunk sale would work well for the museum too, because you mentioned, that, you know, it's like the first weekend after kids start school, so everyone's a little bit tired and they're just gonna be sitting
There's a lot going on.
So, yeah, I think that would be good.
Well, have they decided those dates at the recreation committee?
Not until the
level?
next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so can we agree to tag on to the trunk sale
For our second one, for our Fall Fest, yeah,
for Fall
and
Fest?
probably 2 slots. Like, I don't think we need a third one thrown in, no. But that's up to everybody else, that's,
And for the date, you can just say to be determined.
That was September 23rd this year, so it'll be around the same.
That's a bit late for us though, isn't it?
It depends. It was hard with the students being able to work that day, but because we don't have as much, you know, as long as we have enough volunteers, that there's someone in the hardware store, there's someone in the church, and there's someone who knows how to operate the cash register and debit machines in the store. There's not, you know, we can just have however many activities we have volunteers for. It can all be planned ahead of time. So it will be a little bit more difficult with no staff, but it can be done with everyone's cooperation.
And they've been
Well,
working
last-
those girls.
last year we had it earlier.
Yeah, we
The-
didn't
no, the rec
collaborate with.
council
Pardon me?
Had theirs the same day as us.
2
Not,
years ago.
yeah,
2 years
well, yeah. Not this summer, but the summer before.
Yeah, last year.
Last year.
yeah.
I thought that worked really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it did.
Just people just kind of wandered in and out, and
I
it
think it
was,
was too early though. I think that's why they moved it back. Because you did it in August, isn't correct?
no, it was
No.
September.
Second week,
Yeah, I think it was
the second-
the
second
weekend
one.
after Labor Day,
yeah.
but I think that was too, like I said, I think that was too early because it's the first week back in
Everybody
school
was
and
so busy
everyone's
with
tired
school.
and just getting into a new routine.
But you still have vendors?
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of combining
Yeah.
two
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Maybe
It was-
two,
Yeah, we have
two separate events, but on the same
two,
day.
like they have their event and we'd have ours and
Okay,
instead of having one 2 weeks before.
So we're probably looking at September 14th to the 21st.
Mhm.
Probably.
14th
Would be better. For us,
Say
anyway.
again?
But it all depends on the kids,
Yeah,
the people
14.
getting their kids back to school. and
No,
stuff
that's the
too, right?
week out. There's 2 weeks in
Yeah,
between.
that'd be.
That's 2
weeks in, and I think then
No, I
you're,
think that would work.
Yeah,
If that works with you guys, Will, that
I
would be,
will bring
the
that forward.
14th.
yeah.
That's just 1 week earlier, so we should be able
That's,
to,
so
yeah,
I'm just gonna put possible 14th.
yeah, I'll make a note. and-
Emma, would it be called then?
Ours is called
Fall
Fall
Fest.
Fest.
So just call the whole thing Fall Fest?
No, they, the
still
rec committee
gonna
will still
call
do
it.
their
Okay.
trunk sale and their whatever, and then.
We'll just promote it as on the same and
Just on the
Okay.
same day.
come to
Come
one,
to two
walk
events.
over to the other.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
So if we are doing that, is the rec committee still gonna have a charge per vendor? Should we have a charge? per-
No,
No.
so what's on the table for this round is food donation, strictly a
okay.
food donation this time.
Okay,
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that's what's on the table, coming forward at the next meeting.
and I
okay.
think we can work that into ours.
I think that would
Yeah.
be awesome, yeah.
yeah. Be nice if we're all on the same page.
Yeah, so yeah, food donation is the route that's been proposed and it's not officially done yet, but everybody's agreeing, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so that it's fair, because I remember there
Correct,
was
and-
some confusion the first year.
And the way the food donations work, we give half to Calendar and half to Quasar. So we
Okay.
split it because half the township splits, so.
Okay. So we have this down. So this will be our second event for the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder, but I'll read it off first, I guess. That the Nipissing Township Museum 2024 events will be Fall Fest / trunk sale. To be discussed, but possible September 14th, 2024.
Sorry, I had one thing. So we look at 9 to 2 was what we did this year. Will that work? 'Cause I know you don't usually open until 10. But 10 is kind of late for a trunk
Yard
sale, yard sale.
So, yeah.
It doesn't really matter if we
Okay.
open at different times, I don't.
Well, there, it doesn't matter if we open at 9 anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not like we have
Keep it.
staff that are there. It's probably better if it's at the same time as the other one anyway.
Yeah, 9 to 2 is like, as long as we keep them both the same. then-
That's why I'm throwing it out, because
Yeah.
when we do our events for the year, we do a date and a time. So I just want to throw it out for,
No,
okay,
Yeah,
It's
nine's
not in
fine.
our regular season, so we can do that.
It doesn't matter.
okay, thank you.
It's not like we have to bring the girls in early.
okay, I'm gonna read it off again, then I'm gonna ask for a mover and a seconder. That the Nipissing Township Museum events will be Fall Fest / trunk sale, possible September 14th, 2024, but to be discussed. A mover, Dave, and a seconder. Okay, Laura.
I'm wondering if you should put in cooperation with the trunk sale thing, in cooperation with the rec committee, because that's not really our event.
True, yeah, true.
I don't believe it'll be an issue.
Yeah.
Just in the motion I meant, so, sorry.
Oh, just in the motion.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so I'm gonna put Fall Fest Museum
Does it even need the truck selling?
and
Can I throw another twist out if you don't mind?
sure, we're,
So you're saying August 18th for Heritage Days?
Mhm.
We're possibly looking at another movie night in August, which would possibly be the 17th. Would it be worth joining the two? Doing like Heritage Days and then fall into a movie in the park and,
so you guys would do that on the 18th?
no, on the 7th?
But when we did that on the Saturday, we didn't have as many people.
Okay, so I'll just try to see, we won't do it on the 17th then, because I don't know, if we won't get people in for both events. Okay, I'm gonna make note
Well,
of that,
historically, when we moved Heritage Day, it really changed our attendance.
because I
Oh, yeah.
think the 17th
I mean, there
was
was
brought
also
forward.
another,
There was Simons in the park.
yeah, so it was
Yeah.
also that there was another
We can't
event.
keep
It wasn't
that.
just that it was a Saturday. So, I mean,
Okay, so what I've done is that the Nipissing Township Museum 2024 events will be museum, Fall Fest / rec committee trunk sale. And so we know it's a collaboration, then possible September 14th, 2024 to be discussed. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so. Ooh. So has everybody read what the budget for this year for the candy sales were? We have it here. Right here. Thank you. So, oh, this is the, okay, so. So the budget, this here was. I just
That's
need,
the revenue. So we budgeted 3,000 and to date, we've made 3,325.17 on, that's candy and drinks. We have a considerable amount of candy left. And we do have a large portion of it earmarked for sale at the teen dance with the rec committee. So we're trying to clear it out that way. And we sold some at the trunk sale. And we took it to 50% off to try and clear it out.
Did we just purchase too much or,
It was a strange year.
okay,
And I'm not sure that there was a lot purchased, but I think that was the way it needed to be purchased, but there were some items. And if it's okay, Mr. Chair, if I just speak to this, because I was
Yep.
working the table at the trunk sale. And in talking to the people that stopped by, there were items that we ordered in the candy order that I would suggest we don't do that anymore.
okay.
Those include candy, cigarettes, gum, cigars, and the licorice pipes.
Yeah,
Because I had a few conversations with young children who asked me what they were, and their parents weren't very happy. So I suggest we move away from those.
heck, we all survived. We went from candy to real.
Yeah,
I get it.
what, no more liquor stogies?
Yeah, that's, I. don't
Well, we still
personally
have
like
several left if you'd like.
Well,
Yeah.
some
some.
didn't
No, I'm
sell
fine.
very well
No,
throughout the years,
Yeah.
so
No.
that would be another.
We have,
Yeah.
we have.
Well, probably
almost-
because people wouldn't let the kids buy them though.
Probably
A lot of
not.
It was
I know what
mostly,
they
it
were.
was mostly adults purchasing because they remembered from when they were
Yeah.
kids, but they're only ever gonna buy so much.
And they
'cause
only
it's
ever
just for
bought one.
nostalgia.
Yeah,
Was what I saw when I was working. They only bought one. And it was just for that, because once you have a candy cigarette again, it's not
it's not the
that
same.
good.
No,
No, definitely not good.
No,
They
they
weren't good back
weren't
then.
too bad, no.
we don't do sugar like we did when we were kids. Like it was a thing then. But now
So
it's- we
the items-
avoid it now. I know I do.
The items that are left that we have a great deal of are the Fun Dip, the candy buttons,
Yeah,
and the gummy candy that was rated and put into the bags. I believe that that's because it's widely available in other areas. So a lot of people are buying that at the dollar store and places like that. So, yes. Yep. So those might be areas where we look at changing.
Change over buying,
Exactly.
make it more of the old stuff in there.
So I know we still have the jars in the storage room from the stick candy, which was a traditional candy. And it's a smaller display and it's easily managed. So that's one thing that we could branch
the
into.
rack that we have that is forced to.
Exactly. So we have the hardware and we can make space and make use of more of the candy store space possibly for seasonal displays.
Displays of.
Or turn it into a display of the stores in the area that used to be around, because we do have a fair number of photographs. Now we have a large number of donations from the general store and the more.
That's right too. So this is why this this motion was put on the agenda, was for a board decision on what do you see for the future of the candy and the merchandise, because we did try to sell off a lot of the merchandise as well. And we still have quite a bit of stock. That includes old t-shirts, vests, pictures.
There's a few, prints of photography, and there's a Saunders print of the museum, but it's not the way that it looks anymore, because it's got a new porch and
Lots of changes. There were other items that were in the store that we did try to move throughout the season too. We've managed to clear out a few things. There's still mugs, there's still hats. Those things will sell. They just take more time. There was some jewelry that's been with us for several years, so that moved well this year. So we're almost finished clearing that out. These are the things that we need to look at. What do we want to, do you want to replace them with things? Or do you want to just leave that part of the store to finish getting rid of those items? And focus on a different display in the store with the more items that we've received.
I think we should concentrate on getting rid of things,
Yeah,
At this point,
get it out of
Because-
here and.
our merchandise stock is up there.
It is, but it's better now. We've done a lot of work to thin it out this year, but it's still quite high.
Yeah. So if we did not purchase merchandise, just stocked up on candy, but
The candy that goes.
Yes,
yeah, so smaller.
Let's be more selective in And maybe look at what's being sold at the two stores in the area as well, because again, a municipal entity is never supposed to be in competition with the businesses. So we could have conversations with the store owners and see the direction that they want to go in and make sure that we're all working together.
If we made a smaller candy inventory, you know what I mean? Instead of going with $3,000 for candy, because
Well,
we're,
your expenses for candy this year, we had budgeted.
oh, sorry,
15.
15.
We spent 21, but we budgeted for 15.
Okay, sorry, I was reading.
That's
up
the
here.
revenue.
That's the revenue.
So I had the opportunity to work there quite a bit, just this summer. And we had one couple that came in with their grandkids and they were looking for the old candy that they used to have. So one example was some black thing that you used to chew on. It was almost like, what did he say, ash or something, he said. He described it as old ash or,
Oh,
Some
Black
kind of-
Cat bubble gum?
yeah, it was some kind of bubble gum, but
Black Cat,
Maybe Black
Yeah.
Cat.
yeah.
I did.
So you have to
some
talk to
research.
somebody old, Will.
well, that's why I kind of was looking at you. Steve.
You so had fun. But I did some research and I did find another distributor that we could use that has a more traditional catalog that we can look at. It may have,
Every so often I'll think of something.
yeah, but we have time to figure out what we want, just so that we just need the budget figures, because unfortunately with this, with the board only meeting a few times now until, and we won't meet again until the spring, the budget will be set by then. So that's why these questions need to be answered
Yeah.
tonight.
So you know what kind of candy sells and what
Yeah.
doesn't, and
This
Chris
summer,
does.
Have a
This
pretty
summer
We
good,
worked a lot this year.
Yeah.
actually this summer, I didn't really handle the
No.
candy at all. I left that to the
But
students. so
Chris
these
knows.
two
and
probably
will.
know better
So
We have
than
a
I
whole lot of it in
do.
the office right now.
why don't we just go with the basics that are selling?
Okay.
I think that's my
And
opinion.
if we
instead of
come
having
up with something that's
candies
unique that we used to
in
have,
jars
that makes sense.
And working with this new distributor, I'd like to come up with a possible list. And my suggestion for your budget would be $1,000. I think that would be plenty
For candy?
for what we would need, because I don't know how much the distributor is going to want to sell. We're not going to want the larger quantities, so we may have to pay a bit more to bring it in.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
The
to-
other side of this is though that people have gotten so that they come to the museum, to the candy store. That's why
Yeah.
they come. So you have to have a
But-
variety for them to choose from.
But then they're using it as a candy store. They're not using it as a museum.
So what?
Yeah, it's still
We're not a
revenue.
candy store, we're a museum.
No, but
Yeah.
as long as we're
No, but
not
that's what it was
competing,
developed for. That was the
Yeah.
whole original idea. It was
the,
a draw to bring people to the,
But
Yeah.
But
But
if
if
they're
they've
not
already
engaged
been
in
there
the
10
museum
times,
part.
once a week for the last 2 months, it doesn't really make any difference.
yeah,
It's drawing them, but it's
a lot
not
of the people who
accomplishing
come-
when
anything.
my grandkids and my great nieces and nephews come up, are we going to the candy store? That's,
But do they go through the museum? Do they understand the museum? Do they know where they're going? Do
no,
they-
they're
no.
going to the candy
Yeah.
store. So what? We have a candy store in the village.
But because it's a municipally owned and operated museum, our main focus should
Is
be,
a
are
museum.
we engaging with the?
Well, it's just like when I go into
community?
cruise night and I want something to drink, I go to the museum and get a can of something to drink. I don't go through the museum in North Bay. It's, all the
Yeah.
museums have this aspect to them nowadays.
Yes, you
Yeah.
wanna have something so
Yeah,
that people
not getting
wanna
rid of it.
stick around and enjoy their time, but if they're only coming for the candy, that's.
They also came for the stilts.
But maybe a different focus on the candy. I'm just saying that because we have a tub that's probably half the size of this table left in the office right now. And it's the gummy candy and it's the bulk candy that you can buy at the bulk barn and at the dollar store. So I suggest that we move away from that type of candy and focus more on traditional candy and a new
Yeah.
type of
Yeah,
candy,
that makes sense.
a new type of old candy.
yeah,
So still keeping with traditional candy and keeping an option there for sure.
but staying away from the candy, cigarettes and the
Oh, yeah, I get
liquors,
that.
pipes
Yeah,
and
that the
cigars.
parents
Well, even the
Exactly.
gummy, even the jelly bean or
Oh,
jelly
there's
stuff, the
The
stuff
the
that
blue
comes from the bulk
whales,
store. I mean,
yeah, there's the blue whales, there's the
Red lips.
red lips, those gummies, so,
Love those red.
That are all left,
yeah.
They love
Yeah,
candy.
there's
which they can
And a
get
lot of people
anywhere.
love them, yes, but they're widely available at the bulk stores and in most of the general stores, they have them. There's a certain supplier that puts them in the small bags. So we're in direct competition. And some people will buy it from us, but we have a great deal of it left.
Well, and I get it that we're walking a fine line between competing with the businesses in the township.
And no,
it is
and
a
no one
fine
has
line.
complained about it. It isn't that.
No.
It's just keeping an eye to keep everything fresh.
But if
I
we,
just think it's nice for our township to have something unique
Mhm.
that the others don't. And
But we're not getting rid of it.
No,
We're just
no, we're
changing
just
how much
changing-
we
We're
have.
changing
just
the
going
stock
back to
up, yeah.
traditional candy instead of the stuff that
yeah,
you
we're
can buy
trying,
anyway.
we're
Just changing
Yeah,
trying
kids will buy
to
candy, they'll
decide
buy whatever's there,
Exactly.
right?
what our budget for candy should be based on older style candy. Because we know that there's some stuff that we really should take off, you know? And we know that there's some stuff like the gummies that they are direct competition. And they don't move.
No.
And they don't move, so there's no point in putting money in the budget to buy gummy candy that nobody's gonna, you
But
know.
we should still have a nice display, like it always has looked so nice when you walk in there
Yeah,
that we need to keep that up.
and I think the candy does kind of give it the old store appeal.
yeah, well, that was the
It
point.
adds to the
Yeah.
experience for sure.
Yes,
We do actually have a lot of, like, we also have the weigh scales that they used to use in the general store before they switched in the sixties to like more modern style of selling. If part of it is about the experience, perhaps one of the things that we should look at is, the candies that like they're maybe individually wrapped, which is hygienic, but they're all in a jar, and then you get however much you want weighed out. And make it part of, tie it in to the museum in some way, shape, or form, so it's not just about the candy.
As long as you can find it individually.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's some things like the saltwater taffy that we've been getting from, I think, a Dutch company that comes individually wrapped. And there's other hard candies that, they're kind of like candy sticks, but just in balls.
The bags of hard candy that we have, we still have almost all the stuff we bought.
Oh,
So I would say maybe not that one. They're heavy to carry around too. That and the unicorn suckers.
I
They're
didn't really. pay much
the
attention.
swirly suckers, the big suckers.
Okay.
They're available at the dollar store now. So we had them, but they didn't sell very well. So those are the items that I'm talking about, maybe changing it up to something that would be a little bit more.
yeah,
Antique.
yeah. So that said, we had budgeted this year for $1,500 in candy and drinks, and we actually purchased $2,108. So if we made a budget of 1,500 again and stuck to it,
Stuck to it.
That makes sense.
would that,
That works.
okay?
Within that?
So I'm going to take the liberty of putting $1,500 for the candy budget. And merchandise and book budget, because it's all on the same one. Are we gonna,
I think we're good for books right now, are we not? Or are there
Um,
some that you would like to see?
I mean, okay. There's a few on the shelves. We have lots of stock of the history of the Northern Prairie Sound District and the pioneers in the Bickley Township. There is another book available. It is more expensive, but it is all about the Nosso Nipissing Road, and someone actually lent it to the museum last year. And he's since been lending it to quite a few people in the township. I'm wondering if it might be worth placing an order for that. I wouldn't suggest getting a whole lot of them, as I say they're expensive, but I think there would be people who would be interested.
Do you know the cost of them?
It's, the price listed on the internet is $25. I don't know if there is a wholesale price. I have not reached out to them because when I brought this up before, we're not purchasing anything at the moment. And then last year, someone reached out to me or to the museum rather, about a book on the canal from Georgian Bay. Which would have affected the Nipissing Township if the project had been carried through. That might be something of interest to a few people, but again, I think it's just a large order.
So historically, we usually have $500 budget for books. And that way, when these items come available.
We didn't spend it this year though.
No.
No, exactly. So we can budget that again
No.
next year just for the books. And that way, it's not a large amount and it leaves it open.
And I probably won't spend that much on
No.
the things that I mentioned.
I've never seen us go to the full amount of budget on the books, but especially this year where we're focusing on the Nipissing Rosso Road, if we have an
That makes
opportunity to
sense.
buy the
that We
books
should have some of that.
or some other books come to our attention, then that might be something.
Okay, so if we do $500 for books, that doesn't necessarily mean we have to burn the budget on books.
No, it's just there.
It's
And
there.
if we have the opportunity, then we can use it, but
And if you do bring a couple of those books in, they go right away quick.
we never know what to do.
You have a budget to handle the rest of it. What do you think?
So what about merchandise?
Would some of the other museums be interested in the same books? And you could order,
Possibly.
Well, see, now that we're starting a
Yeah.
relationship, a working relationship.
could
with
you
them, that's a
order
great
more
idea.
for cheaper?
Cheaper, yeah.
And split the cost?
So talk to them. Yeah, but that would still be our budget of, we could
It wouldn't
still,
change our budget. we
it
just
wouldn't
go
change our
forward.
budget.
No,
no.
oh, no, okay. But we
That-
wouldn't
but
go
that's-
over.
But
we
that's-
should raise
go over.
collaborative.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's a great idea though,
So
to
with
talk
that
to
said,
them about collaboration with.
is it worth it for us maybe to reach out to the Amanda Museum about a candy order? Because they too have a store,
Right.
right? So if we're looking at this candy order, we may be able to.
To save money by doing it
Save
together.
money.
So when I'm talking to Deb tomorrow and Jillian and Deb have also worked a relationship out. So between us, we can certainly talk.
Okay, so I'm gonna put 500 down here for
Yep.
books.
Books. And what about the
And, merchandise.
We're very well stocked for the new t-shirts. They started to sell this year. They look beautiful and the display still looks nice and full. So I wouldn't suggest we need any more next year.
The only thing that might be worth it, if people are interested, is hoodies, the ones that we got the previous year or the year before. They sold quite well. They were relatively competitively priced, so that might have been one of the reasons, but the logo printed on a few hoodies might be of interest to people.
Even if you put, what did we have down for
So
merchandise?
you got merchandise, $1,000 for gifts, shirts, merchandise.
We didn't spend any this year, so if you were to budget 1,000 for next year, that gives us the option of pricing out those hoodies.
So then, okay, so, store supplies, 500. books, 500.
So
Motion inventory, candy merchandise.
just those
books.
two things. that's all.
Oh, that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I look
Yeah.
after the utilities,
Yeah,
other things.
so,
I think Laura was talking.
sorry.
I
sorry,
wondered
Nora?
about the brochures and advertising, and we didn't spend anything according to this.
Nope.
It was all printed
Shouldn't we
at
be-
the office.
If
Yeah.
we're going to do a big event like the 50th, shouldn't we do a lot of advertising for that?
We did advertising and we printed brochures this year, but we kept it in-house. And it just came into our budget and it's really hard
Okay.
for me to break it out to charge the museum. So we did it, it just didn't show up in the museum's budget
Yeah, all those flyers that we did, that
and
we,
the posters.
Okay.
yeah, we just. maybe
But
cheated a
social
little
media,
bit.
we do so much on social media
We
now.
do so much on social media, plus we're getting a good contacts with all the papers and radios and stuff as well.
Yeah, a
so,
lot of them will allow you to put up a free event.
Yeah,
We have a
And we
staff member
put
who
it
makes great
on your
posters.
sign at
Yeah.
the fire halls?
we have been doing that too. We've changed them
Okay.
out and,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, so our
Especially that
advertising
one.
is,
be a good one.
Okay.
our advertising has cost us
Nothing.
nothing.
Wasn't free, but we made it effective.
So a total of merchandise and books of 1,500. Would that be reasonable? If I put that down there,
plus we send a flyer over to the school.
Yeah.
A few times a year with all the events and activities on it as well. So that gets to about 120.
And because a lot of our flyers and our posters are made in advance, well in advance. This way, with the planning that we get done and we've established tonight, then we can start to incorporate it into our advertising campaigns.
oh, and that will go into the total municipal budget for the year as well, so. Okay, so I'm gonna read this motion and I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. That the candy budget for 2024 will be $1,500. And that the merchandise and book budget for 2024 will be $1,500. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Nora? And Dave. Okay, so motion number 2023-34, moved by Nora, seconded by Dave, that the candy budget for 2024 will be $1,500. And the merchandise and book budget for 2024 will be $1,500 as well. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so next on the agenda. So this here is a motion that we accept the quotation from Past Perfect Software for the purchase of a cataloging program to use in the museum. Price quote number 49076, $1,300 US, purchase to be authorized through the 2024 operating budget. And should I read the whole?
Everyone received it in their
Everyone had it.
package.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right. So, that said,
John Paul from our office, our technology administrator. He's been on the phone with them more than one time to discuss that it meets all of our requirements. It doesn't require the annual updates. Jillian's worked with it before, and this would provide us with the platform that we need that's user-friendly to start finally cataloging the entire museum in one place. That would be a dynamic improvement.
and for the price.
Yeah.
This is only available through the states. We can't, it's not,
That, there is no program in the Canadian market that's comparable that we could use now.
oh, okay.
And Past Perfect is what is used in a lot of Canadian museums.
The OPP museum uses it, and that's who they kept referring us back to, saying if we join another organization, we'll get a discount, but it's not worth it to us for that. So this was the
Okay.
price that we would pay without it.
All right, so, can I get a mover and a seconder on this? Dave
I'm okay.
and Debbie. Okay, so this is motion number 2023-35, moved by Dave, seconded by Debbie, that we accept the quotation from Past Perfect Software for the purchase of a cataloging program for use in the museum. The price quote number 49076, $1,300 US. Purchase to be authorized through the 2024 operating budget. All in favor?
Sorry, just one question. Chris, just make a note, make sure it's available online. This says CD,
No, no,
no computers have CDs anymore.
no, our
You can
vote
get it
is
as
download.
download CD
It's
drive.
download, we've already
Yeah.
established that. Like
Okay,
I say, John Paul's talked to them twice on the phone
Okay,
in person,
perfect.
and they created this quote for us, knowing what our requirements are. But thank you.
Okay, so we need a mover and a seconder for an adjournment, if we're all done here. Dave and Gladys. Motion number 2023-36, moved by Dave, seconded by Gladys, that we adjourn the meeting at 7:40 PM.
What about next meeting?
Okay.
Next regular meeting will be held Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024 at 6:30 PM.
Unless a special meeting is called.
Yeah.
for. The options there.
What date was that again?
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Yeah. I'll send out lots of notice before the meeting. All in favor? We gotta take it.
Oh, all in favor?